Welcome, everyone, to episode 13 of the Most Interesting People in Logistics. Today's guest is Dan Hellmann. Dan Hellmann is a Chief Sales Officer at Hubtek. Dan, thank you so much for taking your time to be on the show today.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot for having me.
Definitely. Dan, I usually start off the show by asking the guests to tell us about how they began their experience in logistics. So if you could just tell us how you started your career in logistics.
Yeah, like most people, I kind of fell into it. I went to University of Dayton for college. I was a political science major. I thought I wanted to become a lawyer, and I realized being a lawyer is not nearly as sexy as it sounds. So the only thing more sexy than being a lawyer is going into trucking. So I kind of fell into it at a career fair and wanted to go into sales. Came across the booth for TQL, Total Quality Logistics. I shadowed 2 or 3 times there. I kind of fell in love with the industry. I fell in love with the company, how fast paced it was. I come from a kind of line of entrepreneurship in my family. So essentially almost kind of own your own business, your own account. So I started TQL there in Cincinnati. I was in Cincinnati for a few years, had a few promotions. Eventually they moved me out to Denver to open up their office. At that time, it was their 3rd office, if I recall correctly. Now they're booming. They have like 60 or so. Ran the office for a few more years. So all in all, I was at TQL for about 7 years, and then took some time off, wanted a little bit of a break, and then got back into the industry and helped start up a brokerage for my former customers. So that was a company by the name of Simple Logistics. Ran that for about 6.5 years. Grew it to 3 offices, about 45 million a year in revenue, and then came across Hubtek, where I'm at currently. So Hubtek was a vendor of ours at Simple, first for automation. We automated our rate quoting process for one particular customer. And then we've been using a different provider for nearshore staffing for our a lot of support roles. We were having some issues, so we moved that from that provider over to Hubtek as well. It's greatly changed how our company operate, greatly changed our profitability, saved us during COVID, I would say. So I reached out to the founders to see if I could come on board. They brought me on. So now I've been at Hubtek for about 13, 14 months or so.
Okay. And what does Hubtek do? What kind of services do they offer? It is a popular company nowadays, but I'm just, to a viewer or listener who's never heard of Hubtek, what is Hubtek?
Yeah, Hubtek, we have 3 offerings, and really our overall mission is how to attack and correct the labor problem in the US, especially in this industry. And when I say labor problem, I'm not necessarily saying like how hard it is to hire people. It is extremely hard to hire people, quality talent, but it's the overall historical decreasing margins the industry has experienced. This past year has been a great year for logistics companies, but historically margins are decreasing and the cost of labor is going up. So we overcome that hurdle with our 3 offerings. The first is a product called Tabby Connect, our automation platform, to eliminate those manual tasks off the human labor's plate. To actually focus on revenue generating tasks, such as rate quoting, order entry, and also some customized back office work. Then our nearshore staffing, we operate out of Colombia. We have 3 offices there. And these roles are for supporting the US-based team, whether it's night dispatch, track and trace, carrier sales, customer-facing sales, accounting work, developers. So something to help take some workload also off the US team's plate so they can focus on the larger tasks or help reduce employee burnout. And then lastly is a product called Profit Quest. It's our training platform. A lot of brokerages out there that are especially fast-growing brokerages don't have a refined training process. They rely very heavily on the kind of the tribal knowledge shadowing, which works well, but is very inconsistent from hire to hire to hire. So we have a training platform that helps onboard employees, overview of the industry. We get into carrier sales, we get into customer sales, even some new management training as well. So attacking it from 3 different ways.
Okay. I'm guessing that 2021 is a record-breaking year in terms of sales.
2021 was a great year for us. We're consistently growing year over year over year. So we've been in business just about 3 years now. And we now currently have 450 employees, which include corporate employees and also employees that are supporting U.S. logistics companies.
Okay. And what like differentiates you between like you and Lean Solutions? What's a differentiator? Like how do you I guess you could tell us more about your offerings, but what's the difference between you two?
A lot of BPOs, business process outsourcing, have similar programs. We just kind of take a little different take on it. One is we're solely focused on just logistics. Like that is our niche. That's what all of our leadership team and those in management, we've all actually done the job before. Like I ran brokerages before. But also, high quality, low cost labor and talent will only get you so far. Technology will only get you so far. What we do is we bring technology and low cost, high quality talent together to really drive efficiency. Since we can kind of pull both levers with having the talent and automation, we can make significant impacts to companies.
Okay. And being the chief sales officer, what are your responsibilities day to day? And if you could tell us maybe about what your sales pitch looks like.
Yeah, so responsibilities day to day, it seems like my to-do list and my responsibilities continues to increase each day. And that's kind of my own fault, because I have a lot of great visions of, what we're growing into and what we can become. But overall, it's focused heavily on sales strategy, how we're structuring our sales team, how we're going to market. I also oversee marketing. So it's not just, content, but market analysis, what kind of touch points are all the companies we interact with experience, from the moment of they hear about us the first time through the entire nurturing phase to then becoming a customer, and then into customer success to basically repeat and continue buying. So we really map all that out, and that's kind of falls in my umbrella of the ownership of that, to improve that customer experience.
Okay. So like, let's say I'm a potential customer of Hubtek. What are like some concerns that a customer might have, such as like before they sign up onto Hubtek, and how do you reply to those concerns?
So it's going to vary from offering to offering. Like typically our customers start with one offering we have, and then they go to all three. It's typically what happens. So if it's for automation, one we typically come across is our customers, they just don't understand the technology. It sounds too good to be true, kind of like some voodoo black magic going on. But reality is the technology itself has been around for a while in other industries. It's new to logistics. And so what we're doing is we're stacking these technologies on top of each other. We're utilizing RPA. We're utilizing OCR and machine learning and natural language processing. So instead of being all disjointed, we're bringing it together in one package, and it being a complete package to where it's as close to plug and play as automation can get. There's always going to be some customization. So first I'd say is, understanding the technology. The second is the fear of losing control. How do we know the automations? What is it doing? Well, if it does something wrong, I can't actually see it working. I can't see someone sitting next to me doing the job. But the reality is also that when you have, a decent sized brokerage floor, sales floor, ops floor, whatever it is that's really, we don't have control over it, because everybody's doing it different. And just because you trained on it for 1 hour when they first came on board doesn't mean they're following that process. And so automation is really giving you more control over the process, and also giving you insight and visibility to what is actually happening. Now you can track and measure the activities that are going on. And if you can't measure it, you can't manage it, you can't improve it. And so it's giving you initial data so you can start making educated decisions to move forward. On the nearshoring talent side, it would be kind of almost like loss of control. How do I know someone is working or not? How do I know they're doing their job? How do I know, is my data secure? And the way we have it set up, it's really, you're opening a satellite office. So there's no difference if the satellite office is in Medellin, Colombia, or San Antonio, Texas. Medellin's a 3-hour flight from Miami. San Antonio's probably a 3-hour flight from Miami. So it's easy to get to. And we also structure it, we're having co-managers on site that are also the eyes and ears. So we want to come together for that code management where we're both managing these employees.
Okay. Colombia seems to be like the offshoring capital or nearshoring capital of logistics in recent years. Could you tell us a little bit about the I guess about Colombia, because you go there pretty often, and is it like the job to have? Is it to work for a logistics company, an American logistics company?
Yeah, so Colombia has definitely become like a hotbed for BPOs. So not just in the U.S. logistics company, but a lot of industries. And it's really because the proximity, it's easy to get to, same time zones, cost of living is affordable, high level of education, high level of English skills. So it really fits the mold very, very well. And since it is such a large industry there, it does bring in a lot of talent. Like it is a complete career path for Colombian citizens of working for a BPO and supporting U.S. companies. And what I really opened my eyes, and I didn't really know this until I came to Hubtek. Like I really enjoyed the employees we had when I was on the brokerage side, and I thought they did a great job, worked hard, high quality. But I didn't really realize also like the level of education. They're not just college degrees, but pretty advanced degrees. It's not just they're taking a random one-off major to get the degree, but they're either electrical engineers, chemical engineers. It's impressive.
Definitely. I had the same experience in Ukraine. They're all very highly educated, and it's
yeah, and it's kind of like that a mind twist a little bit, because my ignorance is I just didn't necessarily think that, just because I've never really thought about it. But it's definitely eye-opening once you get into it.
Sure. Do you know why Colombia is a hotbed for like nearshoring? Because I mean, there's so many countries around, like Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico. Why Colombia?
So kind of like I mentioned before, so it's the cost of living, level of education, and the English skills. I mean, definitely Mexico is also a strong area for nearshoring as well, and the other South American countries. We have also focused heavily on Colombia because that's also where our experience has been. One of our founders, Ricky Gonzalez, he's been in the industry for a long time. Actually, he's owned several different logistics companies. And before nearshoring was even really a thing in the industry, he had all of his operations in Colombia, and he has lived in Miami. So that's also a connection for Hubtek of where it came from.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Dan, so with your experience in logistics, starting off at TQL, building up an office for them, I wanted to see if you could share with us some life wisdom, business wisdom for like the 20-year-old that just graduated college. What would you tell someone that just graduated college?
That's a tough question. I would say the number one thing is if you get offered a job or a position and you're not sure if you can do it, just say yes, do it, and like you'll learn. Don't be afraid to potentially bite off a little more, like, get yourself out of that comfort zone, because that's really where you thrive. When I opened up that office for TQL, I was early in my career. I've been in the industry or out of college for 2 years, maybe. I forget the exact timeline. It was about that. And I learned so incredibly much. And I learned a lot just by failing at things, making mistakes, a lot of trial and error. Same thing, simple, made a heck of a lot of mistakes. But now I know what to do, what's the right thing to do. And it kind of also got me outside my comfort zone to where I can pick up on where things may go wrong a little easier without actually having to do the wrong step.
Okay.
So I just say, jump into it and do it.
Cool. And what are your 2022 goals for Hubtek, and any personal ones?
We definitely have a lot of goals for Hubtek. 2022, I said 2021. It's all kind of a blur right now. It's going to be a very impressive year for us as a company. We're planning on some extensive growth and all offerings. The talent, especially in the automation. Our roadmap is really filled out of what we're going to be adding to it to make it even further the reach of Tabby Connect even more, and bringing on more sales reps, additional trainers, across all divisions within our company, just to further support.
So that Tabby Connect technology that Hubtek has, you said that certain potential customers think it's like voodoo magic, that they don't understand it. Could you tell us more about the technology aspect of Hubtek?
Yeah. So imagine this I'm just going to kind of simplify. I won't get too technical. So probably like drive our developers crazy, but I'm not going to get too technical. But like how it essentially works. So let's say for rate quoting, for instance, you get a request from a customer. So it's operating, it's not a rate engine at all. It's just doing the steps the human would do. So let's say an email comes across. It can be free form text. So the customer saying, what's your rate from San Antonio, Texas to Miami, Florida, van? Or it could be a notification from a shipper platform. Tabby will open the email, read it just like a human would, just using different technology to extract different entities. Understands that San Antonio, Texas is the pickup, Miami, Florida is a drop, going through equipment type, class, weight, commodity. And we'll then go to the rate engines that the brokerage is currently utilizing, whether it's 1 or 8, it doesn't matter, but we'll pull back the expected truck rate, just like a human would. And then Tabby will then run it through what we call a parameter set. So it's a dynamic parameter set. Because of our industry experience, we are able to capture all the different nuances that go into quoting. So you can now take in consideration delivery time, holidays, the weight of the load, how much lead time. So all these different things that you would do in your head to calculate what you want to rate, Tabby will do it, but actually kind of take emotion out of it and just follow the data. And then Tabby will then submit the rate back to the customer, whether it's sending an email back to the customer directly or sending it to a shipper platform. And from beginning to end, all that happens in about 50 seconds. So it's always working, always quoting. So now the human doesn't have to really focus on that. So they actually focus on human tasks and the automation of that. So you have the control, just like if a human was doing it. You can create these parameter sets on like individual customers. If you have 200 customers, you can have 200 parameter sets, but you can also do it on the individual load tender level. So if one customer has 3 load tenders, you can quote each load tender differently and Tabby automatically do it.
Okay. So you just have certain logistics companies that only use Tabby Connect, whereas some use other services as well, right? It's not like you have to buy all services.
Yeah, no, you don't have to buy all services. We have some customers that are just using us for Tabby. And typically they will start with, one of our automations like rate quoting or maybe order entry. And then it just kind of grows. Then they start uncovering, hey, I could probably do this for doing location updates, or hey, I could do this for some back office work or just other internal processes. Like one customer of ours, they started with rate quoting with one customer, one of their shipper customers, and they've now added 12 more customers to it. And they operate in a pod structure, and they actually have a Tabby pod, where Tabby is the pod leader, quoting out all the customers for that, and they have a team of carrier sales reps supporting Tabby.
Amazing. That's super cool. I like learning more about the tech side of logistics, and I see just there's a lot of improvements. The technology sounds amazing. I mean, it'd be useful for any freight brokerage. But yeah, I mean, to wrap it up here, Dan, is there anything else you'd want to tell us about yourself or Hubtek?
With myself, I mean, we pretty much covered it. I've been in the industry a while. I love the industry. I want to, get involved as much as I can, whether it's, the TIA executive committee, whether I'm on the board of directors for the Denver Transportation Club. So if any people in the Denver area are listening, definitely reach out to the club. We have some really great activities going on. And on the Hubtek side, what I always like to get across to people we talk to is that I am a firm believer that brokerage is a relationship game. It's very heavily rooted in relationships, whether it's with your customers, your internal employees, your carriers. And automation and having satellite offices doesn't take away from relationships. It's actually enhances them. And so now you can take some of these data entry tasks, these lower level tasks, have the automation do it, or have a support team run those. And you can do those customer touches that you've always wanted to do. You can send out those birthday cards to your customers, thank you notes, follow up more, and spend time actually talking about their relationships instead of building loads.
100%. I've talked about that before. It's just enhances the experience with the customer. Totally. You're able to spend more time with the customer and develop the relationship. Awesome. So if anyone's interested, they should reach out to you on LinkedIn to learn more about the Hubtek system, or should they reach out to someone else?
Yeah, no, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm always available to chat. I'm kind of attached to my cell phone and my LinkedIn account, so you'll hear back from me very quickly. They can also email me, danh@gohubtech.com, but also our website has, you can request demos or calls, but LinkedIn's probably easiest. You can easily find me.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Dan, for coming on the show, and I'm interested in hearing about Hubtek throughout 2022, and I hope you achieve all your goals.
Great. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Thanks, Dan. And that's a wrap.